combat sports, calling, MLB, calling NBA, calling NFL is a totally different thing. So I think Jimmy Smith, given the proper time, could be a very great commentator. I'm just not crazy about him being in the number one spot just yet. But he does have a great supporting cast with Corey Graves and Byron Saxton. But I'm still, and Jay, we talked about this on Sunday, the whole 3-man booth just it boggles my mind. You don't need 3 people behind the desk.
JP dip out on us.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be done with 2 just fine. 2 is the standard format that we've seen pretty much throughout the history of professional wrestling. I don't think that 3 people is necessarily a bad thing, or that it can't work or doesn't work or won't work. But you have to get the right 3 people, because, I mean, just like with you, HD, myself, and JP, there's 3 of us, and of course the Joeys and Gabe as well. There has to be, a flow when we're on here talking, right? It is the same thing for the commentators. They have to be kind of in sync. They have to get into a natural rhythm with each other. But it takes time too. You can't just give up on a guy, after a couple of weeks. You have to give people time to grow familiar with each other, to know each other's ins and outs, what they're going to say, what they might not say, pick up somebody's slack when maybe they're not as confident on a particular subject. All those things, though, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes relationship building, and relationship building takes time.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Look at us back in February when we first, Kings of the Roundtable finally debuted. If you take our show now, compare it to our first 1 or 2 episodes, and dude, I'm telling you, I tell you every week, even at, our after show conference, you baffle me, man. I give you a bunch of crap, it's all out of love. You know how it is. But you grasped onto the 3-man booth per se, and can't exclude the Joeys and Gabe. It's incredible how we're in different parts of the country. We built that chemistry. I mean, we're 4 or 5 months in right now, so we had the time, and look at our chemistry now. If WWE would take that philosophy and give these guys time, I think it could be successful. But the 3-man booth, I mean, they tried it back when Raw first started. They had Rob Bartlett and, Randy Savage, Vince McMahon. They dropped down to 2 with JR and the King, which everybody's in agreement. That's the best commentary team of all time. And we got JP back finally. But and then they go back to the 3-man booth after the whole roster split and everything like that. If they would just give them time, man, like the time we had, they have time to build the chemistry. They have it would come across better on TV. And I got to give Jimmy Smith props, man. I think given the time, he could be one of the greats.
Well, yeah, the name I was thinking of that got out of the seat, and I must have, last person I could think of that got out of their seat and celebrated and cheered and actually enjoyed it. I'm thinking back to Mauro Ranallo. But as for what you said about Jimmy, and as for what you said about the continuity, that's the biggest two. Number one, I think Jimmy was a very energetic commentator for MMA. And I'm not going to say MMA and pro wrestling are the same world. They're not. You all know I've dipped my feet into both. But you can paint the same emotion. The one thing that you help with it that helped in MMA, if you could call it an MMA, it's knowing when to use the proper emotion and when not to. And Jimmy has that. Baseball, there's a different kind of emotion. if that makes sense. And I think Jimmy, he automatically seemed like he was more, at least had a basic rudimentary understanding of what's going on in there. And I think that's what's going to carry him forward. I think if you give him time to grow and don't pull the wool out from under him, you could have something special there. But then again, I said the same thing about Dio Madden, and they yanked the wool out from under him too. I mean, you just got to be patient, and you got to let the chemistry grow.
Well, we were saying that, when you dropped off there, it's, and I just lost my train of thought here. Oh, that's all right. So Jimmy Smith comes from combat sports. Adnan Virk didn't. So there's a similarity with combat sports as opposed to MLB, NBA. So I think Jimmy Smith does have, like you said, the rudimentary grasp of it. And, given the time, he could be one of the good ones.
Agreed. Jordan, what were you going to say, brother? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
I was passing the torch off to you, but yeah, I agree with everything. And then also one of the points we made, I believe you were off by this point, was our chemistry, because we are, essentially a 3-man booth. And as HD mentioned, we're 4 months in now. Our chemistry now compared to our chemistry back then, and not that our chemistry then was bad, but our chemistry now has it's only gotten better and improved every showing. So giving people time to form those relationships is very crucial when you're talking about the relationship between commentators.
Exactly. And the thing about us too was with our show, and not the two, was building some kind of together in the past. Jordan, HD, you and I have had years of working together. You know what I mean? So it wasn't completely native to us either. But as you said, Jordan, it took time for us to grow to what we are now, and we get better and better each week. You got 3 guys that are thrown in the booth that have, I'm sure they may be buddies backstage, but they've never worked in a fit. So, it's going to take time, and we'll see how things turn out. But I do know this, and I saw this on Twitter, and I wish I knew who to credit it to as we go to break. They've had 15 different play-by-play announcing combination teams on Raw since 2016. That's a problem. Anyway, folks, when we come back, we'll discuss more here on Kings of the Roundtable right here on RGTR.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Gold Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Gabriel Anders, and I just wanted to pop in and let you know that there is a quick and easy way that you can help support this station and all the DJs on the RGTR shows that you know and love. Whenever you're looking at doing some Amazon shopping for your pets or your kids or yourself, everything that you could have delivered directly to your door, if you just head to redgold.net first and go to Amazon by clicking our Amazon banner at the top of the page, that would really help us out a bunch. And while you're at it, if you could follow us on Twitter at Red Gold Media and on Facebook, Red Gold Talk Radio, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the Red Gold Network, you'll get notifications of every time that we go live each and every week for all your favorite RGTR shows. So again, if you click on that Amazon banner right at the top of the page on redgold.net, we'd really appreciate it. You enjoy the rest of your show, and thank you so much for listening to RGTR Red Gold Talk Radio. Hey guys, Gabriel Anders here, letting you know that the Arizona Wrestling Federation is back in Phoenix at the new AWF Arena, June the 26th for the All-American Grand Slam. See the returning team of Adrian Hawkins and Aiden Colt, accompanied by Sprayboy Roy, together again for one night only, as they take on the Southwest Dream Team of AWF champion Andy Palafox and the returning Danny G. Also competing, Ricky Mandel, Paradox, Watson, Freya the Slayer, AWF Women's Champion Brittany Brooks, Chubby Depp, RGTR's own Jordan Cruz, and the Brothers of Wrestling. And the 2021 AWF Wildcard Rumble winner Lawrence Tyler will be in attendance. For more information, listen to Pro Wrestling AZ Weekly and get your tickets now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com.
Hey guys, it's Big HD, the Hardcore Degenerate, inviting you to check out Kings of the Roundtable every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on RGTR Radio.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Art Dog here with your homeboy MJ Gunner.
What's going on, everybody?
And we want you to join us every Tuesday live for the Sons of Legends podcast at 10 p.m. where we talk about wrestling, sports, entertainment, and everything else. It's the show for the fans, by the fans.
That's right, Art. You know how it gets whenever we get in to talk about our wrestling. It gets completely insane.
And every Tuesday, we'll be all the way live, 10 p.m. Join us for the Sons of Legends podcast on RGTR.
Hey folks, I'm Bradley C. Baker.
And I'm Jim Caterly.
And we're from Broken Link Radio. We'd like to ask you to take a second of your day to join our Patreon at brokenlinkradio1word.com. You see, due to Jim's excessive shoe habit
and Burhead's compulsive habit of buying used books,
we need a little help keeping up with our operational fees. With packages starting as low as $3.99 a month, you can become the ultimate scumbag and help keep food on our tables during these trying times.
Dude, what's this? We're not starving.
I know, Jim, but listen, we're all in this together.
It's like you're making us into a Sarah McLachlan commercial or something.
I know. I'm just reading what was written, Jim.
Why don't we just tell them if they like what they hear to support the show?
Yeah, well, I think we're out of time now, and the studio only paid for one take, so whatever. Catch new episodes every Monday and help support the show on our Patreon at brokenlinkradio1word.com, patreon.com/brokenlinkradio.
Do it! I still hate that URL.
Broken Link Radio.
Do you love Kings of the Round Table? We'll help support JPHG and Jordan Cruz by picking up your copy of 11 and 11, a hometown hero, LaRussa's last ride in red, and a Miracle World Series for the St. Louis Cardinals. Written by Benjamin Hoffman with a foreword by Chris Carpenter and closing remarks by Jason Mott. 11 and 11 is a thoroughly reported chronicle of an unparalleled season packed with interviews with key players, team executive broadcasters, and more. This is the definitive account of a championship run no Cardinals fan will ever forget. To pick up your copy of 11 and 11, visit redgold.net and purchase through our Amazon link to support this show and this station.
The hottest new talents in pro wrestling today are in the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Subscribe today for all the action. YouTube.com/ProWrestlingAZ. Catch the excitement.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
Let me tell you what, folks, ladies and gentlemen, the summer months are going to be hotter than the blue blaze to hell, but there's nothing hotter than the pro wrestling action that will be taking place over the next 6 weeks. Starting up first, you got the 26th of June, the All-American Grand Slam. Not to be confused with that favorite restaurant of yours and mine. No, you're going to see some real slam that's going to burn a lot of calories, not give you a lot of calories. AWF presents All-American Grand Slam live June 26th at the new AWF Arena. They're running on, I believe it's 10 or 11 consecutive sellouts. So trust me when I tell you, you definitely want to get your tickets now. Jordan, I believe, will be wrestling Ricky Mandel at that event, amongst other things. So you want to get your tickets at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com or the Arizona Wrestling Federation Facebook page. Also, Level Up presents the showcase called Don't Sweat the Technique on July 11th, 8 p.m. Or I believe it's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm so used to reading things Pacific Standard Time. Now I got to realize I'm in a different time zone. But that's, featuring Jordan will be in attendance, B-Boy will be in attendance, the CZW and professional wrestling legend, and you'll see some of the top stars of today and tomorrow, which is the showcase. Jordan, how many of those shows have you guys had? Showcase? You've had quite a few, huh?
Yeah, well, we do a weekly show that drops every Sunday on IWTV. As far as the showcase goes, we've had several. We've only had 3 actually in our kind of new format that we've got going on. And let me tell you, this is something special. It's something that you definitely, it's worth your time to check out on IWTV or as well as on YouTube, Level Up Pro Wrestling. And then if you're in the San Diego area, come check it out. We got 2 big title matches including myself defending the Hollywood Heritage Championship against Judiz. It's something you don't want to miss. And of course, AWF, All-American Grand Slam, June 26th. You don't want to miss that either. Andy Palafox, AWF Heavyweight Champion in tag team action. You also have myself in action against Ricky Mandela, first time ever matchup. Two big shows coming up you don't want to miss.
Absolutely. And also on there, you got July 10th in Clearfield County. It's Asylum Pro Wrestling. I'll be in the house. Check out some of the top up-and-coming stars and some of the most hardcore action you could possibly witness on the East Coast. Again, that's Asylum Pro. That'll be on July 10th in Clearfield County. Got Asylum Pro Wrestling on Facebook for more information and get your tickets now. All right, now, this segment, we got it's born here. Jordan, seeing teams move on. I'll tell you what I'm getting a kick out of this playoff so far is this newfound attitude, so to speak. Maybe I like this because I like the Hawks and I don't much care for the Knicks, but this newfound attitude, Trae Young, he's sort of embracing the role of a villain, putting his feet. He's doing basically pulling a Reggie Miller 2.0.
Yeah, that's an amazing comparison. He's been absolutely killing it. This playoffs has been a very, very interesting one for me. Because when I look at the way the bracket is playing out, it just further cements to me again just how deep the West is compared to the East. I mean, if you look at it, the Eastern Conference semifinals, it's already filled out. It's already going to be Hawks versus Sixers, and then the Nets versus the Bucks. While on the Western Conference, the only team to move forward so far is Utah, and then this has been a very wild and interesting playoffs to watch and see the young stars continue to push the effort and develop, such as Trae Young, such as Donovan Mitchell, such as Ja Morant, Luka Doncic, Devontae Booker, Nikola Jokic, of course, Damian Lillard. The names go on and on. The young guns are really stepping up this year.
I see these players who step up, like you see, like who was in some and Oscar those points scored in this play. Future guy for him. Last time you saw the Atlanta Hawks win a play and put that his back and carried them. You met Doncic, and I've never seen a trade that was balanced. If you remember, the Mavericks actually got drafted Hawks drafted Doncic, and the Hawks also pressure to pick that became Cam Reddish. Talk about a balance. The everybody's talking to Doncic is, and he is exceptional, but Young is quickly proven, man. He's a future. He's a superstar in this sport too, and it's coming sooner than we think.
Coming sooner. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's already here. I mean, when is the last time the Hawks have made the playoffs, much less won a series? And then, hey, look, you can talk all the smack you want about the Knicks. This year, they stepped up. Julius Randle, most improved player. I mean, they came ready to play. And then, the Hawks pretty much obliterated them in the second half of that series. Am I going to pick them against the Sixers? I don't know. But, they have even more than a puncher's chance at taking out the Sixers and moving on to the conference finals. That's all because of Trae Young.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, when it comes to scoring, I think the biggest X factor in that series is going to be Joel Embiid versus, the Clint Capella. I think that's a matchup you want to really pay attention to. But as much as I like Ben Simmons, and look, I like Ben Simmons a lot, but what's been the biggest Achilles heel in his career so far? His shooting, right? And that's something that Trae Young does in Groves. And if Young gets hot and starts shooting the light, Jim, this could be a very short series for Philadelphia. I mean, that wouldn't be a shock that by any means to see them move on. Then we got actually one game in progress right now. It's Portland and Denver. This is a must-win game for Portland, but right now they're down 112 to 108 in the fourth quarter with a little over 4 minutes. So, and a must-win game. Denver looks like they're on the cusp of possibly moving on. But second series I'm looking forward to when we're talking the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee, I mean, they wiped their feet with the Heat. That Heat just went to the NBA Finals. Same team went to the NBA Finals last year. Milwaukee blew through them, but they'll be taking on a pretty tough and on paper, the most talented team in the playoffs in the Brooklyn Nets. That ought to be an interesting series in its own right.
I'm not sure what to expect from this series. I mean, it seems like 1 second you've got Greek Freak and the Bucks look like they unstoppable force, but then what happened last year? They ran into this same Heat team and couldn't lace their basketball shoes. I mean, so it seems like the Bucks sometimes are so hot and so cold. They've been obviously phenomenal this year. Can they overcome Kevin Durant with Kyrie, with James Harden, Blake Griffin? That's an insane caliber of offense. I mean, the Nets, I think the Nets are going to ultimately make it to the finals. Will they win? I'm not sure, but Milwaukee's going to have a very tough go of it with these guys.
I agree. And I mean, I'll point blank say, I think, and this may be a far-fetched claim. Anybody that wants to disagree with me, feel free. I think the Bucks will have the best board at any game. So I think Giannis is the best. I think he's top 3 in the NBA in terms of overall talent. But you look at that depth that the Bucks that the Nets have. I mean, like you said, you got Kyrie, you've got Durant, who is fully healthy. You've got Irving. You got Blake Griffin as the 4th piece, for God's sakes. I mean, that is Bucks. I mean, the Bucks have some pieces. Drew Holiday's. They've got the pieces, but talent for talent. I mean, can one man carry that team into the finals can't carry that team to a win? I don't know. I just think the Nets have way too much. I think they have way too much talent in that in the 4 or 5 spots, and it's going to be a brutal out. And I don't want to forget about DeAndre Jordan either. I mean, he's not a scoring machine, and he's not the player he was in Los Angeles, but he's still a very stout number 5. He's a stout center that plays top-notch defense and gobbles up rebounds left and right. So there's a matchup right there to pay attention to. I mean, it's a tough series it's going to be a tough series for Milwaukee. This isn't Miami by any means, folks. This is like Jordan said, I think talent for talent, a team that's the odds-on favorite, if not to win it all, to at least get to the finals.
Then the West, like I was mentioning about, difficult and challenging it is. Like I said, the only team that's moved forward so far has been Utah. It's still, neck and neck between the Clippers and the Mavericks. Obviously, Denver, I mean, if they hold out for 3 more minutes, they'll have moved on. Lakers and the Suns. I mean, can you really count out LeBron James, especially Game 6 and Game 7? It seems like that's LeBron. That's where LeBron shines the most. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that series. I mean, I think I'm leaning Suns, but I would not be surprised if LeBron just puts the Lakers on his back and wills them to the next round.
I'm going to say this as somebody, and I make light of the spent 8 amazing years of my life there. Last 8 years of amazing years of my life. I spent 14 years there total. And I've grown an affinity for the Phoenix Suns, and I'm blown away with how good they've been this year. I was expecting a 7 or an 8 seed. They've been one of the better teams in the Western Conference this year. And I fully accredit that to the addition of Chris Paul, which I let the record show was against when they made it. I thought they gave up too much, but apparently, I mean, there's a reason that the people running the team run the team. And I'm a radio guy, but when it comes right down to it, look, Chris Paul, he's one thing, LeBron something else. Has LeBron ever lost a first round series in his career in the NBA? I don't remember the last time he did, if he has. I mean, you're talking a guy that usually, if he stumbles, it's in the finals. I want the Suns to pull this out tonight. I want them to pull this series out. I mean, what a feather in their cap it'd be, and what a step forward it'd be for them to not just move on, but the defending NBA champions and the Lakers, who are their biggest rival. I can't see LeBron James' team going out in the first round.
It's funny to me that, the Suns are leading the series 3-2 right now, but it seems like they have to win Game 6. The game isn't must win for the Lakers, even though it is must win for the Lakers, because obviously if they lose, they're out. but it feels just, in my heart that if the Suns don't win this game, they're going to lose the series.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. Look, I mean, you go back to a game 7, even though it'll be in Phoenix, you don't want to play LeBron because if you go to a game 7, it's a 1-game series. And trust me when I tell you, beating LeBron in the first round and beating the Lakers in the first round is not an easy task. Beating them in a 1-game series, good luck. I will tell you though, I mean, and Anthony Davis banged up, whether the Lakers survive this series or not. I'm not confident about their chances going forward. If they get past Phoenix, which I predict, I just, there's something about this team that's a little bit off. And I will tell you, I want Phoenix to move on because it'd be nice to see somebody different in there for a change. I mean, if they move on, you'll have Utah, you'll have, Portland or Denver, which looks like Denver's going to pull that one out. You'd have Phoenix, you'd have Dallas or the Clippers. You'd have a fresh face in there that's not Golden State or Los Angeles, which was, I'm talking the Lakers, obviously here, but you see the same teams over and over, and it's nice to see somebody different and new stars coming up because again, last 5-6 years, it seems like it's been LeBron James and it's been the Golden State Warriors, really.
Yeah, I think it's good for the league because what fun had the NBA Finals become? It to me, I lost interest to a certain extent because, like you said, every year I was LeBron, whether it was in Miami or whether he was in Cleveland, and then obviously now on LA, or it was the Warriors. So. And before that, it seemed like every year it was the Spurs. So I think it's good for the league to have different teams and small market teams like Phoenix and Utah and Denver. Obviously Brooklyn's no small market team, but Milwaukee and the Hawks on the other side, potentially making a push. Philadelphia is obviously more bigger, but still not as big as New York or LA. So yeah, the fresh faces, the teams that have been looked at as, not necessarily bottom of the barrel, but lower spectrum teams getting good and getting really good, really fast, and new faces, new names, like I said, with the Joker or Doncic or Trae Young, Devin Booker. I mean, it's an interesting NBA to watch this year for that reason. Donovan Mitchell.
Absolutely. But I can include, what you said about Brooklyn. I do want to bring up too, not necessarily a small market, but let us also understand here, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks rule that roost. The New York Knicks own that city. They've owned that city for 60, almost 70 years now. Brooklyn they're like the Clippers. I don't like to use a redheaded stepchild analysis, but that's pretty much what they are. I mean, when you talk New York basketball, you don't say the Nets, you say the Knicks. You don't, when you say Los Angeles basketball, if you go to a casual fan, if you ask 10 casual fans, who's the basketball team in LA, how many of them are going to say the Clippers? Maybe 1, 2, if we're lucky. I mean, so you are seeing these, even the teams that are big market, it's teams that you're not used to seeing in this high profile spot, which fresh faces, new names, and that's what I'm liking about this NBA. And I don't think this is a fluke. I think you're going to start seeing the Memphises and the Atlantas and the Phoenixes. If this is the start of something, I think you're going to start seeing those teams really at the top for a while now, which I'm good with that because I think parity is a good thing for any sport. And when you have these smaller markets, I mean, look at San Antonio back in the 1990s where they were the team. San Antonio ain't a big market. That team embraced them. And I mean, Joe, you live fairly close to Memphis, right? I think we lost to Joe's.
Yeah, they're muted.
They're muted. Okay.
About 2.5 hours, 2 minutes, 2 hours, 45 minutes. Yes.
So you're fairly, I mean, you're familiarized enough with Memphis to understand what that would mean to that city if that team starts performing at a big level. I mean, look at how they embraced them this year.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
We've seen a resurgence in Memphis Grizzly popularity that I haven't seen in years. Matter of fact, I go so far as to say that it hasn't been this high since the team was first established.
Right. Since you got him from Vancouver back in the early
Absolutely,
2000s.
yes.
So I mean, and they've had some popular runs with Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph, exactly. The grind, was it a grind city? The
grind. Mike Conley.
Yeah, but this seems like a different one though. I mean, those Grizzlies teams, they had some good players. They had some really good players. I mean, Zach Randolph at his best was criminally underrated. Marc Gasol, another one who doesn't get nearly enough hype, but there's something about this team with Morant. Morant seems like the type of guy that'll sell jerseys in China. And you understand what I mean by that analysis, right?
I do.
Why that's so, I mean, I know some people listen saying big deal, but John Morant is that household name that'll have his own shoe that people will buy his jersey in China or Europe or the Philippines or, in other countries. And that, when you have that transcending star, it resonates. So, and for that Memphis team, let's be honest. I mean, there had been some lean times for a while there. Are they going to keep the team? Are they not? It's nice to see somebody like Ja, that's a small town guy in his own right, grew up in a small town in South Carolina, went to Murray State. No disrespect to you, Joe, but when you talk about basketball powerhouses, you think Duke, North Carolina, Indiana. Even if you stay in the state of Kentucky, you're going to think Lexington and go play for the Wildcats. This kid played for Murray State. I mean, no disrespect.
I mean, we've had a team. I think the stat was said that we have made more appearances in the big dance, but never made the 16 than the Sweet 16 the other team.
Yeah. I remember when Grant, I mean, he came in there and he took you guys to Sweet 16, didn't he?
Nope.
No,
I think it was Isaiah Cannon that did that.
I think it was Cannon.
We didn't?
We never had.
God. Oh. Well, real quick, Jordan, if you, we got about a minute to go in this segment. Let's put a prediction on paper, and we'll come back and circle back here to it after it's over and see how right or how wrong we are. Who's your NBA Finals, and who are your NBA Finals, and who do you have winning it? Who do you have taking home the gold?
I have Utah ultimately bringing it home after triumphing the Nets.
I'm going to be in a similar page. I got Brooklyn going, but I'm going to take an underdog here. I'm going to say Denver. I think Brooklyn and Denver. I think Denver's got a pretty stacked team with Joker and they've got Michael Porter Jr. Looks like a future superstar waiting to happen. I think it comes down to Brooklyn and Denver, and I'm going to pick Brooklyn in 7. But then when we come back, we'll wrap up this show. We'll close out this segment and talk about some other stories, all sorts of shenanigans. I want to top. We just let Joe Violet throw his 2 cents worth on for thing that get to him for right in RGTR.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Gold Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Gabriel Anders, and I just wanted to pop in and let you know that there is a quick and easy way that you can help support this station and all the DJs on the RGTR shows that you know and love. Whenever you're looking at doing some Amazon shopping for your pets or your kids or yourself, everything that you could have delivered directly to your door, if you just head to redgold.net first and go to Amazon by clicking our Amazon banner at the top of the page, that would really help us out a bunch. And while you're at it, if you could follow us on Twitter at Red Gold Media and on Facebook, Red Gold Talk Radio, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the Red Gold Network, you'll get notifications of every time that we go live each and every week for all your favorite RGTR shows. So again, if you click on that Amazon banner right at the top of the page on redgold.net, we'd really appreciate it. You enjoy the rest of your show, and thank you so much for listening to RGTR Red Gold Talk Radio. Hey guys, Gabriel Anders here, letting you know that the Arizona Wrestling Federation is back in Phoenix at the new AWF Arena, June the 26th for the All-American Grand Slam. See the returning team of Adrian Hawkins and Aiden Colt, accompanied by Sprayboy Roy, together again for one night only. as they take on the Southwest Dream Team of AWF champion Andy Palafox and the returning Danny G. Also competing, Ricky Mandel, Paradox, Watson, Freya the Slayer, AWF Women's Champion Brittany Brooks, Chubby Depp, RGTR's own Jordan Cruz, and the Brothers of Wrestling. And the 2021 AWF Wildcard Rumble winner Lawrence Tyler will be in attendance. For more information, listen to Pro Wrestling AZ Weekly and get your tickets now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com.
Hey guys, it's Big HD, the Hardcore Degenerate, inviting you to check out Kings of the Roundtable every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on RGTR Radio.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Art Dog here with your homeboy MJ Gunner.
What's going on, everybody?
And we want you to join us every Tuesday live for the Sons of Legends podcast at 10 p.m., where we talk about wrestling, sports, entertainment, and everything else. It's a show for the fans, by the fans.
That's right, Art. You know how it gets whenever we get in to talk about our wrestling. It gets completely insane.
And every Tuesday, we'll be all the way live, 10 p.m. Join us for the Sons of Legends podcast on RGTR.
Hey folks, I'm Bradley C. Baker.
And I'm Jim Caterly.
And we're from Broken Link Radio. We'd like to ask you to take a second of your day to join our Patreon at brokenlinkradio1word.com. You see, due to Jim's excessive shoe habit
and Burhead's compulsive habit of buying used books,
we need a little help keeping up with our operational fees. With packages starting as low as $3.99 a month, you can become the ultimate scumbag and help keep food on our tables during these trying times.
Dude, what's this? We're not starving.
I know, Jim, but listen, we're all in this together.
Yeah, it's like you're making us into a Sarah McLachlan commercial or something.
I know. I'm just reading what was written, Jim.
Why don't we just tell them if they like what they hear to support the show?
Yeah, well, I think we're out of time now, and the studio only paid for one take, so whatever. Catch new episodes every Monday and help support the show on our Patreon at brokenlinkradio1word.com, patreon.com/brokenlinkradio.
Do it! I still hate that URL.
Broken Link Radio.
Do you love Kings of the Round Table? We'll help support JP, HG, and Jordan Cruz by picking up your copy of 11 and 11, a hometown hero, LaRussa's last ride in red, and a Miracle World Series for the St. Louis Cardinals. Written by Benjamin Hoffman with a foreword by Chris Carpenter and closing remarks by Jason Mott. 11 and 11 is a thoroughly reported chronicle of an unparalleled season packed with interviews with key players, team executive broadcasters, and more. This is the definitive account of a championship run no Cardinals fan will ever forget. To pick up your copy of 11 and 11, visit redgold.net and purchase through our Amazon link to support this show and this station.
The hottest new talents in pro wrestling today are in the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Subscribe today for all the action. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling AZ. Catch the excitement.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Gold Talk Radio.
Final segment here at Kings of the Roundtable, RGTR Radio. I'm JP, joined as always by Jordan Cruz and HD. And real quick to tie up some loose ends. I know quite a few segments ago we talked about fan conduct and how some of these fans acted at the basketball playoff games here recently. So I know Joe Violet, one of our own, wanted to give a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a counterpoint to that, which was very valid and very legitimate, as most of the stuff Joe Violet says is. So, Joe, so we can tie up this loose ends, let's circle back to that. And I know you wanted to bring up a point, so here's the floor, Ben.
You may want to tie up that loose point in a moment. He's still in the back. Oh, here comes the man of the hour.
He's in the bathroom. Joe, what were you doing in the bathroom? What were you doing in the bathroom there? Joe Violet, what are you doing? You cannot go to the bathroom on company time. You're fired.
Okay, I'll just call Ball Saxon and Johnson to represent me.
You're probably doing something else with your ball sacks and Johnson in the bathroom during the break. Let's go. Go ahead.
I can't discuss it on air. I will plead the fifth.
Ball Saxon and Johnson's going to be calling you about your conduct on ours. Go ahead.
I will not be drinking the fifth. I mean, that's not in my cup tonight.
Yeah. That reminds me. What is in everybody's cup tonight? I'm glad you brought that up. That's a segment we didn't do this week. What's in everybody's cup? What are y'all drinking?
Absolutely nothing.
Body Armor strawberry banana.
What you got there, Jordan?
Yeah, I guess I'm just drinking air. I don't have anything.
Yep.
I'm drinking a Rolling Rock. Might as well be drinking air. All right, go ahead, Joe. Your floor is yours.
I'm drinking a Pepsi tonight. My point, you say?
Point.
Oh yes.
What were you doing in the bathroom? You're discombobulated here. What were you doing in the bathroom there? Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll tell you off air. When a professional athlete steps onto the court or inside the ring, I mean, he has to expect some hecklers, if you will. But I understand what Jordan was saying earlier, that yes, you don't have tongue-tied there for a minute. Sorry. To be shown for these athletes, but that respect works both ways. For example, we were at a local wrestling show here in Kentucky. I won't use names here as to protect the guilty perpetrators, but there was a talent that showed up that had never been there before. And some of our crowds could be a little bit savage, yes, but we didn't use any racial slurs, nothing insulting, nothing that would be outside the realm of what someone booing a wrestler would do. Okay, so we're booing this guy. He looks at us and threatens to come out there and beat every one of us. And of course, us being fans, one of my friends said, okay, come out here and do it. So this wrestler proceeds to cross the security barrier, get in my friend's face, and threaten him. Now, that's not the kind of professionalism that is expected of a professional athlete. My point is, it goes both ways. There's professionalism as fans. You need to respect the athletes, but at the same time, the athletes need to understand that it's the fans who are the ones who are paying their paychecks. Number one. Number two, the fans are going to heckle. It's just going to happen. And if you can't handle that, perhaps you're not in the right business.
I don't mind the heckling, and I can't speak on behalf of Jordan or HD. Jordan, does the heckling bother you?
No, it means I'm doing my job. The only time that it's annoying is or it's not even annoying. Like, any reaction is a good reaction. I mean, now if it's jeering to be difficult, and when the fan tries to again, I hate using insider terms, when the fan tries to get himself over as opposed to reacting naturally to the show and vocalizing their actual reaction, when they forego that in lieu of trying to make the show about them, that's when I kind of have a problem with it, or at least get annoyed with it. But it is what it is. Like, what am I going to do about it? Nothing.
When the fan tries to hijack, go ahead.
Yes.
You actually hit the nail right on the head. I was going to say, I'm not trying to no pun intended, hijack the segment here, but let me ask the talents, the professional athletes, and those who performed in front of crowds this: where do you draw the line between heckling and hijacking?
It's not a black and white issue. there's definitely gray area there. When it gets, like I said, when it gets to the point where this isn't, wrestling fan A is in the crowd and, good guy and bad guy are wrestling. When wrestling fan A starts making comments in order to pop the crowd or get reaction from the crowd in order to, when I say get himself over, meaning trying to make the reaction about him and what he's saying, as in, oh, I'm basically acting like the class clown, trying to get a bunch of laughs from everyone else, trying to hijack the show, trying to get this. The point of emphasis is no longer on the wrestlers in the ring, but on the fan.
I'll give you two cases and examples, I think, of where you might be going with it. This was what always, maybe this is what grinded my gears. And I could see where if you're a performer and you're in sports entertainment, it could grind yours. When a person's cutting a promo and people do that stupid what chant, that always used to piss me off. Like the what chant when somebody, and then the other one was when you chant somebody's name that's not in the promotion anymore, or totally unrelated to the show. You follow what I mean? Like the CM Punk chants back in the day. No disrespect to CM Punk. He even spoke out against that crap. But when you got two guys in the ring or two women in the ring and they're putting their best out there, they're putting their bodies on the line for you. You think nothing of them to chant somebody else's name. That to me was my idea of the fine line between hijacked and not.
Oh,
what do we got? We got breaking news.
We do have some breaking news here, ladies and gentlemen. This from the WWE. Brock Lesnar's name is back in the official roster side of as being an active competitor. So apparently Brock Lesnar on his way back to the WWE. Is that a big surprise to anybody?
No.
I see him on SmackDown.
So it sort of also adds to another element of what we were discussing earlier. Everybody talks about all these people that were cut, and we talk about the monetary side of things, and the constant argument being used is budget cut. Is it really though? Because I mean, look, Brock Lesnar's not coming back for pennies at the dollar and a couple of free tickets to a couple of free coupons for Sheets or Wawa.
It's kind of hard to think. Like, there's so many scenarios that they could actually plug him into, but he's coming in for millions of dollars. I think if you add up the salaries of all those released, I don't think they even come close to what they're going to pay Brock Lesnar.
No. Well, considering the biggest cut was Braun Strowman, and he made a little over $1 million. I mean, Brock, you might want to add a couple of Braun Strowmans for what it's going to cost for Brock. And I get it. People may be pissed off, but pissed off about that. But look, Brock is a box office attraction. Whether you like him or you don't, Brock will bring at least a brief flurry of eyeballs back to the TV set, and they need them. They need the box office attractions right now. And there's one or two. I mean, right now at this point, there's 1 or 3 directions they can go, all with him going after a title. The question is, 2 of them would be heel versus heel, unless you plan on turning Brock face. I mean, but there's that built-in storyline, obviously, with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. There's that dream match that everybody's been talking about with him and Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. That's a very real possibility. Then there's the rematch with Drew that he never got. So, I mean, there are stories waiting for him. Question is, if they do Lashley or Reigns, do you turn Brock Lesnar face, or do you need to?
I think he could say the same gimmick, and he could be a face or a heel. He's kind of like the mid guy, People love him, people hate him. He's the same person. Doesn't matter. Unless he's got a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Which is when he showed more character than he's shown in years with that briefcase is funny stuff. But
I know it would
Brock
never
Lesnar's
happen. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it wouldn't happen, but I would love to see a Karrion Cross Brock Lesnar match. I'd love to see that.
Karrion Cross, so damn good, so damn good.
And I know I brought it up in the chat, but Adam Cole's promo this past Tuesday, that's stuff that people need to be like studying if they want to get into business, because that was probably one of the most authentic promos I have heard in a very long time. Like I got hyped for that.
That was promo cutting 101, and that's Adam Cole. I mean, he is such a complete worker at this point. And to the person in the Facebook chat that wanted to know when can we expect to see Adam Cole up in the WWE on the main roster? Why would you want to? Why would you want to?
No, that's one call up. There's a lot of talent in NXT I do not want to see, and I can't even call it the main roster anymore because NXT is a brand. It's a number 3. It's not developmental like it used to be. I can't see him on Raw or SmackDown. I wouldn't want to see him on Raw or SmackDown. Same with Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, like so many guys down in NXT that I would love to just stay in NXT.
I want Karrion Cross to stay in NXT, honestly. Although I think Vince would actually do something with Karrion, but I want him to stay in NXT. I don't like the track record of what they did with guys that were superstars in NXT. I don't like the track record when they get called. I mean, you just released one this week that was, he was made coming in. He was made, and now he's unemployed. And after they did really next to nothing with him. I mean, Keith Lee. There was easy money with Keith Lee, and he's been on the back of a milk carton for the last 4 months, 5 months. I mean, we haven't seen him since what, February? I
read a report that it was either him, Mia Yim, or both of them caught COVID, and then they did a physical on him, and apparently his oxygen level was below 90%, and management told him not to come back until his oxygen level was okay.
That makes sense. I don't see it taking 4 months.
No, well, I mean, COVID's a mess, and if that is the case, great. I know everybody says it's nobody's business, but I don't know. I just maybe inform the people Keith Lee will be back soon. You know what I mean? You don't have to give full details that he's okay, or he's okay. He'll be back soon, because listen, I mean, after what happened to Brody Lee. Okay, and I'm not comparing the two sides, but after what happened to Brody Lee, where he vanished from TV, and the next thing you know, he was gone. At least let us know. Okay, look, he's fine. He'll be back soon. He's, what? I don't know. Who am I? Anyway, speaking of people, we talked about polarizing personalities with Brock Lesnar. None more so of a polarizing personality will you ever see than the Ultimate Warrior. And last week was Ultimate Warrior week on programming. A&E and Dark Side of the Ring both did documentaries covering the Warrior. I'm going to tell you, man, and I know you had a chance to talk to and meet Dana Warrior. I know that you had a very, very good experience with her, and that she came across as a very polite, genuine, decent human being. Absolutely. She came out, though, and called Dark Side of the Ring smut and filth. Now, I've seen almost all the Dark Side of the Rings. They... pun not intended here, HD. They pull no punches. They don't paint with one. They paint with a pretty broad brush. They don't cover up any indiscretions of any of these workers. I mean, it's almost borderline a tell-all television show. I think they kind of took it easy on the Warrior, to be honest with you. For a show that's smut and filth, I think there was so much about the Warrior they could have told that they didn't.
No, there's only so much you can fit into a television show. They could have probably split it up into like a 3-part series. But I mean, we talked about it before. We had the fluff piece from A&E, and then we had the opposite side of the coin on Dark Side of the Ring, which, I totally agree. They did take a light on them, and they left a lot of stuff out. I mean, where's Melanie Pillman? I mean, they kind of referenced her, with Jim's first wife with the other woman, which we all know is Melanie Pillman, they could have done so much more. And the A&E biographies, like the one was a hit piece on Randy Savage, and the rest have been fluff pieces.